You are watching LSD. In March of 2012, ABC News ran a story about what they called pink slime. I will get into more details as we watch this report.
And now a startling ABC News investigation. A whistleblower has come forward to tell consumers about the ground beef a lot of us buy at the supermarket. Is it what we think it is, or is it padded with a filler the whistleblower calls pink slime? ABC's senior national correspondent Jim Avila set out to get answers.
Gerald Zernstein grinds his own hamburger these days. Why? Because
If you pay attention, he fusses with a brand new meat grinder like he never used it before. This is just speculation. Let's continue.
former USDA scientist, now whistleblower, knows that 70% of the ground beef we buy at the supermarket contains something he calls pink slime. Beef trimmings that were once used only in dog food and cooking oil, now sprayed with ammonia.
The ammonia they are talking about is actually ammonia hydroxide, which is watered down ammonia. The USDA recognizes this as safe. Let's carry on.
To make them safe to eat, and then added to most ground beef as a cheaper filler. It was Zernstein who, in a USDA memo, first coined the term pink slime, and is now coming forward to say he won't buy it.
It's economic fraud. It's not fresh ground beef. It's a substitute. It's a cheap substitute being added in.
Zernstein and his fellow USDA scientist Carl Custer both warned against using what the industry calls lean, finely textured beef, and is widely known now as pink slime. But their government bosses overruled them.
Why didn't you consider it beef?
Because it was a salvage product.
Leftovers?
Fat that had been heated at low temperature and the excess fat spun out.
Here's how it's done. Those waste trimmings are gathered, simmered at low heat to make it easier to separate fat from muscle, put in a centrifuge and spun to finish the separation. Next, the mixture is sent through pipes where it's sprayed with ammonia gas to kill bacteria, and finally compressed into bricks and flash frozen for shipment to meat packers and grocery stores, where it's added to most ground beef. And it doesn't have to appear on the label, because over objections of its own scientists, USDA officials with links to the beef industry labeled pink slime meat.
Go figure that meat is meat and doesn't suddenly become sawdust. Who would have thought?
The undersecretary said, "It's pink, therefore it's meat."
ABC News has learned the woman who made the decision to okay the mix is former Undersecretary of Agriculture Joanne Smith, a call that led to hundreds of millions of dollars for Beef Products Inc., the makers of pink slime. When Smith stepped down from USDA, BPI's principal supplier appointed her to the board of directors, where she made at least $1.2 million over 17 years.
If you were wondering, that comes out to around $70,000 a year. They say things like this knowing you heard 1.2 million and would ignore the rest. This is sensationalism at its finest.
She did not return our calls for comment. BPI says it had nothing to do with her appointment, and the USDA says, while legal then, under current ethics rules, she could not have immediately joined that board. Jim Avila, ABC News, Washington.
And we know this raises so many questions. Jim Avila is going to stay on this case.
This was the first part in a series of a sensational hit piece. You wouldn't think a story like this doesn't have real-world consequences that could affect you. However, in this instance there were consequences. BPI lost 80% of its revenue, and out of its 1,300 employees they had to let 700 go. BPI also had 4 plants producing their product but had to shutter 3 of them. Along with BPI, Cargill Beef shut down production in California and slowed production at its other facility and laid off over 2,000 people. The part that affects you is the increase in beef prices as a result, all because of sensational journalism. This isn't the end of the story. BPI filed a lawsuit which for $1.9 billion in damages that could have been tripled under South Dakota's veggie libel law. However, the end of the lawsuit was settled for $177 million. For what reason, I couldn't tell you, but all of this for a product that is perfectly safe and arguably better for you. Thanks for watching. I'm LSD.